Hi, I'm Mark Watson, and I'm here to do an event at the Cheltenham Literature Festival. What I'm speaking about today is actually quite a good question because the blurb is pretty vague in the brochure. It just says, I think it says I'll be discussing my book, Life and the Universe, or something like that, which is actually a lot more than I'm planning to do. It'll mostly be the book, I think. I don't have many views on the universe. I'll probably do a couple of readings from my book and then ask for questions. In general, I find these events tend to all hinge on the quality of questions people have, and I'm quite hopeful that in Cheltenham it'll go well. In a bookshop with 8 people, sometimes you don't get questions and you have to make them up yourself. The book is about a late night radio DJ in London and the sort of the way that, well, it's partly about the relationship between him and his listeners, but then the book is really about a sort of terrible secret from his past, which if I revealed it would ruin the book and you wouldn't have to buy it. But the book is about him learning to come to terms with this thing buried in his past. But the backdrop, the setting is London during a very cold February a couple of years ago, and in this sort of midnight to 4 a.m. radio slot where you hear some quite weird, overcommitted, over-emotional callers, and you wonder about the way that they bond with the host. The central character is a host, so he's like a radio agony uncle, and it's a world that I know quite well because I've been on some of these radio shows and I've also been coming back from shows late at night and listened to these kind of radios, and it's a very different atmosphere on late night radio from any other type of radio, really. There's a peculiar sort of intimacy, and people reveal weird stuff about themselves because they think no one's listening, but I am. At university, I became a fan of, well, Chaucer and medieval literature generally, and it was not something that I'd ever imagined myself being keen on beforehand. I think I enjoyed the kind of element of decoding it because I'd always been quite good at foreign language and just enjoyed languages, so I liked the feeling of kind of but also I just enjoy there's a bit of a thrill about reading something written in kind of 1400 and feeling like you still can somehow connect with the author over a 600-year gap. So I became an enthusiast of Chaucer without ever really expecting it. My other main thing was the modern novel, though. And looking back at my English degree, I'm quite good on stuff from about 1360 to 1400, and then the 20th century. But there's a 500-year gap where I'm basically blagging it. The trouble is, there's so many books. There was loads of stuff that I left university thinking, oh, I must catch up with that and that. But people keep writing new books. Unfortunately, me included. I'm part of the problem. So for every one book that I actually add to my kind of to-do list, there's 10 more that I probably should be reading. So I was in a bookshop not long ago, and I heard someone who was probably in his 60s say, I've already got all the books that I can realistically read before I die, and I'm 31, but I'm starting to already feel like I'm getting to that stage because I think probably everyone dies with a kind of list of outstanding books. There are certain books now, like I'm not sure I'm ever going to read Don Quixote. I feel like the moment's gone. If I was going to do that, it would have been at university. I think it might just never happen now. It's too long, and I've got a family. Well, I love literary festivals because I spend most of my time as a stand-up comedian, and I'm touring around doing my own shows. The status of a comedian is higher in some ways because you're on TV and comedy's pretty cool at the moment. But there's a classiness about a literary festival which I really enjoy, and I love being around other authors because I rarely meet other authors because comedy is my day job, so I feel much more grown up when I'm at a book festival, and I really enjoy meeting. It's fun for me to be around the corner from Ed Balls, for example, is doing an event at the moment, and there are always people here like proper hardcore authors and also personalities. It is a great festival, and along with Hay and Edinburgh and a couple of other literary festivals, it gives people like me the feeling that we are kind of grown-ups. I think there's a lot of the time when you write a book, you just write it and it's in the shops and it's gone, and you don't really get a sense that people are actually reading it. Festivals give you a chance to feel like books are actually interesting to proper people, which is great.